Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Alright, let's begin on this new fanfiction story, The Fate of Izawa Shizue by Bisel13. Chapter 16. Inconvenience Luck. Located in the western region of the Casland Kingdom, Vazny serves as the capital city. Vazny was also technically under the Bulos Principality under the Prince Terrace. The Bulos Principality was one of the most prosperous territories in the whole kingdom. With the territory under the control of Prince Terrace, the capital was also de facto under the rule of this crown prince. But, even though the crown prince had a right to control the capital, the king still held the final authority. The kingdom of Casland was passing down their crown by hereditary, regardless of their gender. The first prince or princess would automatically become the heir to the throne. Right now, there are only two princes in the royal family. The queen had passed away long ago, and the king had just recently followed his queen to the afterlife. They leave the eldest son, Terrace Blaze, and the youngest, Constance Blaze, to decide the fate of the whole kingdom. But these two princes were different, almost like a fire and water. One was firm, one was gentle. One was ambitious, one was humble. One was visionary, one was concrete. And sadly, all those differences caused the current unrest between the two of them. To call it unrest was also a mere simplification. It was as near as a civil war. But they are not fighting for the throne, because one of them never wanted the crown from the beginning. Your Highness. One man in his 30s walked toward the crown prince, who was reading a book in his room. Come in. The crown prince replied shortly. Excuse me, Your Highness. He entered the room, a bit hesitant. I presume you brought the news about Constance? The crown prince asked immediately. Yes, Your Highness. You may tell. Yes, Your Highness. I'm very sorry to tell you that we failed to capture him during his flee. The man stopped with a bit shivering tone, afraid of the response from the crown prince in front of him. But the crown prince stays silent. For once, he braced himself to look at the face of the crown prince. There, he saw the crown prince looking at him with an expressionless face. There's no emotion of displeasure, but there's no sign of being delighted as well. The crown prince completely seems like looking somewhere else. There's no room for him to say anything. He didn't want to make things worse, so he chose to keep silent. The silence was still hanging in the air for another couple of seconds. He now does not dare to look at the crown prince anymore. He bowed down his head, looking at the floor. But the crown prince never wanted to keep silent forever. He heard the creak sound in front of him, then a thump. He braced himself to look up and saw the crown prince had put down the book he read earlier, and now both of his hands are holding his chin. The crown prince's eyes frowned, looking at him intently right now. Tell me, how did that happen? He gulped immediately after being asked that question. But the crown prince has to know. The crown prince has to know what really happened. Yes, Your Highness. Our pursuers are somehow defeated. There were only less than 10 pursuers that survived. The rest were unknown, Your Highness. Now, the crown prince more frowned. It's natural if he didn't believe it. But the crown prince knew it would be too absurd to be a lie. What happened there? I thought Constance's guards were weak and low in numbers. Yes, Your Highness. As we expected, Prince Constance has only a few hundred elite knights as his escorts, and we estimated that he only had around 2,000 armed men. But, the survivor said, they encountered something, Your Highness. My apologies, but even I cannot bring myself to believe what they said. Say it. Yes, Your Highness. They said, at first everything is according to plan. The mounted elite knight from the 5th Knight Brigade would pursue and penetrate the middle column of the convoy, while our mercenaries would wreak havoc at the rear column. But, all of a sudden, the 5th Knight Brigade got halted, and the mercenaries in the back died suddenly. In the final effort to retreat, they saw a huge black lightning pouring down from the sky. It's completely strange since there was no storm when our ambush was taken. That's impossible. Yes, Your Highness. I also didn't believe it. But, I can't find any other reason why our pursuers were wiped out. How about the fleeing refugees? We cannot track them after our pursuers got wiped out, Your Highness. We don't know what happens to them after that phenomenon. They must be still underway to Cardinalis. Dispatch a scout and find them. See if there's anything strange with them. At once, Your Highness. We shall send our scout. Yes, immediately. And follow them until Cardinalis. I want to know what's going on there. By your will, your highness. The man immediately left the room and walked outside to the place where the survivor stayed. Alone in the room, Prince Terrace the Crown Prince frowned at himself. He pondered as hard as he could. The question was, of course, what the hell is going on? But most of all, what filled his mind was none other than his little brother. The ever-caring, no, the too much caring Prince Constance. Although he still cannot put everything that happened under the wrap, he knows Constance was behind all of this. Constance, what the hell are you doing? He muttered. Rimuru Pav today was wild. After dealing with the mayor of Locana town and making a trade deal with him, I managed to fulfill my promise to the town's guard to come back before sunset. And now, I'm just wandering around the village near the town. I decided to let myself take a short break after what I've been through today. And besides, it's still pretty much afternoon, it hasn't nighttime yet. With my intention to have a break, I went to the nearest village and I guess it's one of the biggest. I didn't come here with the intention to spend a night. No, I have to continue my way to following the clues I've gathered from the information broker. But as I said before, I think there's nothing wrong if I spend an hour or two just looking around and calm my head. I came to the village square and saw many kids playing cheerfully there. They look like playing tags, circling the village square as their field. Honestly, I felt like I wanted to join, I don't know why. I've never seen you before. Suddenly a woman called out to me. She walked to me from my right side, carrying a bucket of flowers. She surely doesn't look young, but not too old. She wears a long dirty red gown, sleeveless, and a small veil on her head. She waved at me with a greeting smile. I smiled back at her. Yes, I'm actually not from here. A traveler, perhaps. She curiously looked at me. Yes, I'm on my way to the capital. I just want to take a break here for a while. I see. Are you visiting someone in the capital? You can assume it like that, ma'am. After hearing my answer, she smiled. I mean, most probably I would meet someone as well in the next destination, right? Who knows, I have to meet the city administrator next time. Then you might need this, young man. She handed me a red-colored flower, very much resembling a rose. Or maybe that was a rose flower. I look at her rather confused for a while before I start to understand that this woman is selling flowers. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't think I would need this. I tried to smile, politely reject her. I guess the smile I showed to her was an awkward one though. Oh, don't be like that, young man. You never knew how your partner felt when she was given a beautiful flower like this. Come on, it's the most beautiful flower I have, and I give you a cut. Just 20 zalk and I'll give you 3 of these. Sigh, she smiled sweetly at me, not doubting that I would walk away without giving her some money. Well, I honestly felt a bit of pity for her since I saw there were still many flowers in her bucket. And with my senses, I can see she hasn't made a good selling inside her pocket. I guess buying flowers wouldn't cause harm anyway. Okay, ma'am, I smiled again, I'll take the flowers, please. Yes, thank you very much, young man. She smiled happily while handing over to me 3 beautiful red flowers. I took the flowers and kept it inside my bag, while of course it's not fit but I still store it there. Well, this flower would eventually stored in my imaginary space anyway, consider it I gave the flowers to Seal. I'm flattered, master. Thank you. No, it's a joke. Aw, forget it, it's really for you. I take out my pouch and hand her 20 zalk. Her right palm extended to get the money from me, and she immediately put it inside her pocket. Her smile got a bit dissipated but she's still looking at me with the remaining smile she put on her face. Thank you for your patronage, young man. I hope the flower will keep blooming with your relationship. Thank you, ma'am. That is such an awkward wish for someone like me who doesn't even intend to meet a particular person. But hey, speaking of which, I still have some time here. How about having a quick supper? I am kinda curious about what kind of meal these villagers have. You know, knowing something new is part of the fun for me. Especially after what I've been through today, right? So while the lady is still here, better ask her something about it. Excuse me, ma'am. She was already prepared to leave, but she turned his head towards me again after I called her back. Yes, I want to ask something. Is there perhaps some kind of store that sells meals in this village? Oh my, I'm sorry young man, but we don't have that kind of store here. But there are many inside the town. Sigh. So no luck, huh? All right. Better to leave then. Oh, sorry then, I guess now I. But my husband grew plenty of vegetables in our yard. If you want, I could sell some of them to you, young man. Ah no, sorry, I made a mistake, ma'am. I mean an already served meal, not raw ingredients. I let out an awkward smile, although I'm pretty sure she's the one who misunderstood my question. But she doesn't seem to understand at all about what I've said. Instead, she starts to insist. Oh, if that's the case, please come with me. Let me take you to my house. You can choose any food available at our house. I promise I will sell it at a good price. No, I mean, I was late. The lady just grabbed my hand and then shouted, Willie, let's go home now. At the child's crowd. Okay, Mom. One little boy stood up and immediately ran toward us. He looked at me with a curious look but chose to turn away and say nothing. But my hand. Don't worry, master, she doesn't have any malicious intent to you. Yeah, that's reassuring, but I'm uncomfortable being dragged by hand like this. Excuse me, ma'am. Her kid surely heard me because he immediately looked at me, but he once again didn't say anything. On the other hand, this lady doesn't seem to hear anything. Ma'am, excuse me. This time, I raised my voice a little. And thankfully, it worked. She stopped and looked at me wondering as if she didn't understand what causing me to a bit yelled at her. May you let go of my hand, please? She immediately looked at her hand that was holding mine, and letting it go at the same moment. She looked a bit embarrassed. I'm sorry, young man. I just got too excited. Then she continued her walks. And for some reason, I also following her. Well, if it has come to this, I cannot bail out yet. There's nothing wrong with buying vegetables as well. Maybe I can cook something by myself later after this. So I just smiled at her and nodded. Then, continued to follow her to her home. It didn't take a long walk eventually. In fact, it's really close. It's only a few dozen meters from the village square. Her house seems rather better than the other, but still far from the standard in Tempest obviously. It's only a one-story house with a wooden fence as the gate. The yard meanwhile, was pretty wide to plant a variety of plants. Welp, no wonder her husband planting vegetables here. My dear Marlene, where have you been? I've been working at the stable, and when I got back the house is empty. Suddenly a young man, rather younger than the lady here, came out from the front door while yelling those words but suddenly stopped when he saw me. Oh, who's this? He immediately walked toward me, with a rather menacing look. I'm not doing something inappropriate, okay? Your wife here is kidnapping me. Then the lady immediately walked between us, calming her husband. It's okay, dear, I'm just selling flowers while watching our Willies playing at the square. And here, I brought a buyer for our veggies. She smiled widely and proudly to her husband. I seriously thought her husband would still looking at me menacingly because somehow I got a feeling that something traumatic had happened to him. But I didn't dare to guess what it was. But as it turns out, the husband let out a long and deep sigh, exhausted. Marlene, you're not forcing another young stranger to hand over his money, are you? He asked with a tired look at his wife. What? No, of course not. This young man is looking for food, so I take him here to sell the veggies that you plant. It's a good opportunity, dear. I wish you could see this, but all I can say is, the husband looks in disbelief against his own wife. He turned his sight to me, then asked, is that true, young man? Actually, I was asking if there's a store that sells a meal. An already cooked one, of course, hey. As I thought, he said, then sighing again. I can feel some of his feelings in this. I mean, remember there's a particular secretary of mine who would jump out of the gun accepting a job for me without notice. Yep, you know her. I'm sorry for the trouble, Mr. Johann, sir. Johann Kuhn. All right. I'm very sorry on my wife's behalf. I promise I will make it up for you, somehow. He said with an apologetic tone. Well, it has come to this, so I guess it would be rude for me as well if I didn't buy anything from him. So, just get along and don't make things worse. It's all right, sir. I think I would buy some of your veggies as well. Marlene San has brought me here because she thinks it would be beneficial for both of us. So, let's see what you have, Mr. Lars. My name is Lars, Johan Kuhn. And he paused for a while, frowning while looking around. Well, my deepest apologies, Johan Kuhn, but actually none of my plants have sprouted yet. Oh, come on, why didn't I notice this earlier? Now we both standing there awkwardly, while his wife and child have already gone inside the house. Lars Sand seems embarrassed by this, and I can't blame him. So better leave now, I guess. Well then, if so, I think it would be better if I take my leave now before. Hold a moment, Johan Kuhn. He called me back but suddenly paused. You said you want to buy some meals before, right? Yes, but it's all right. I can go somewhere else to find a meal or going back inside the town, Lars San. No, if so please have dinner with us. We might not have much, but everything is on the house. I promise. I don't know, I'm worried I'll bother your time. Oh, don't worry, Johan Kuhn. Please, I insist. I won't feel okay if I let you go empty-handed. Well, I guess I don't have any reason to say no to this. Rejecting people's hospitality would be inappropriate, and he seems to be a very responsible man. If I reject his hospitality, he might feel bad about himself. So let's accept it. If you insist, Lars San. I'll take your offer. And with that, for the first time, we both managed to trade a smile. A sincere one, and of course, it means happy progress. He invited me to come inside his house, so I followed him. I entered through the front door, and I was immediately served with the simplistic sight of the house. The house itself is pretty huge. In the middle room, you can bring in 6 to 7 people more to enjoy the fireplace. I saw around 3 more rooms inside, but none of them were the bathroom. Of course, there is no glass window, there's only a hole patched up by a wooden block. There are several kitchen tables near the fireplace, with many raw ingredients being stored. I saw several carrots, potatoes, radishes, onions, salt, etc. I saw Marlene San preparing some ingredients by washing them in the nearby bucket, while the child was also doing the same. Lars San meanwhile, heading somewhere in the backyard. I was standing near the door with a little awkwardness since I didn't know where I should properly stay. But luckily, Lars San only took several seconds to come back inside. He brought 2 bottles of ale and put it on the table. He stopped near Marlene and whispered something to her. Marlene was only nodding and continued to prepare the dinner. After that, Lars San brought 2 mugs and poured them with one of the bottles of ale he brought before. He walked to me and handed me one of the mugs. It's actually a wine, Johan Kuhn. I bought it when the last time I visited the town. Please, enjoy it while we wait until the dinner's ready. Ah, thank you very much. I received the mug. This is not a good place to drink. Follow me. He walked outside and stopped at the bench near the carrots garden. He took a seat and signaled me to do the same. So I follow him and sit beside him. Once again, I'm sorry for my wife's behavior. She always wants to do more than it should. Don't worry, Lars San. I understand. It's actually a good thing because she wants to be useful for you. Yes, that's why she's the sweetest. But sometimes, I have to deal with these kinds of things. Then he chuckled after saying that. Something told me this is not the first time. I snickered. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. He grinned, but not all ended up like this. I'm sorry for that, I responded while starting to sip the wine. Don't worry about me. I'm worried that we may have taken your precious time. Oh, it's okay, really. Instead, I was actually quite happy to receive your hospitality, Lars San. That's good to hear. Then, I'll make sure you have a good time here. He took one gulp of wine from his mug. By the way, I heard from Marlene that you heading to the capital. Is that true? Yup. I'm taking another sip. I have something to do there. Is it about meeting someone? Well, something like that. I don't understand. How should I put it? I actually looking for something but I am not really sure how I could get it. So it's possible I would interact with many people later. I see, now I'm starting to get it. You made a good choice. Saltina is the center of trade, you could get everything over there. Really? That's reassuring then. Sure. But I am curious about something from you. Mind if I ask about it? Oh boy, Is he gonna ask what am I looking for? What is it, Lars-san? He looks at me, scanning me up and down. I felt like I was being sexually harassed a little here. Johan-kun, do you perhaps didn't have a horse? Phew. So that's what makes him wonder. I was nervous that something was wrong. But turns out, it's not what I'm thinking. And by the way, if I remember correctly, he said earlier that he's working at the stable, right? Perhaps that's what makes him wonder seeing me come here on foot. Yes, I don't have one actually. So how are you traveling? You can't be just traveling around on foot, do you? Well, actually I do. It's good to be young, right? Ha ha ha. Hey, he chuckled, even when I'm at your age, I'm not that fit. You're amazing. Ah, that's nothing really, I snickered, remembering that I was actually flying. And I'm actually not young either. Even older than him. But hey, I think I have to think about it seriously as well, right? I make myself a traveler, so I should be looking like one. Constance and Bisel13 really let me do anything without any questions, so I forgot to get some common sense before leaving. I guess I have to get a horse if I want to interact more with people. Lars-san is still looking at me, with a curious look. He looks like he is pondering something while looking at me. I don't know what, though. Uncomfortable with his gaze, I decided to ask. Is there something wrong, Lars-san? Oh, no, nothing. Sorry, I just wondered if you need a horse. Is he perhaps going to offer me one? Well, if there's any available horse, I would like to have one, actually. Really? His eyes become glimmering with hope. He certainly looks like a sales who found a potential customer. I guess he knew, or he himself had a horse to sell. If the price is right, I would like to buy one. Well, if the price is suitable. I don't have much money anyway, Lars-san. That's understandable. Horses can be pricey anyway. Yup. I think you know better than me. But I'm curious, how much for a horse here? The cheapest one, probably around 500 zalk. And what I mean by cheapest was not a horse in particular. It's a donkey and an old one. Still, it would be better than just walking on foot if it were me. All right, that's it. I can't get a horse with the money I've been given by Bisel13. If I want to buy one, I should buy it with my own wealth. Well, it's not that I have a problem with that. I don't have any time to buy one for now. It's nearly sunset. I bet whatever the place that sells a horse would probably already close. Heck, I haven't liquefied my gold bar either. That's ironically assuring, Lars-san. You gonna buy one? Contrarily, I wouldn't buy one. I chuckled while taking another sip of wine. He chuckled back, I should have known. But if in case you're going to buy one, Johan-kun, I can take you to a good place. I nodded, thank you for the offer. I'll consider it when I have the means to buy one. That's good enough. I promise I will give my best to provide you with the best horse. We cheered our mug and took another sip from it. We shifted our talks into more casual ones while enjoying the wine and the sunset view from Lars-san's field. Lars-san seems like a pretty calm person and not a hard person to deal with. I'm pretty surprised when I know he's actually a breeder. He owns a little farm on the village outskirts, and we talked about it for the rest of the sunshine. Dinner is ready. Suddenly a woman's voice could be heard from the house direction. All right, let's go, Johan-kun. Sure, thank you. We both stand up and walk ourselves to the house. Once we entered the house, I could see Lars-san's son lighting up a bunch of candles to illuminate the house. Some were placed on the table we're going to use. Ever since I've been in this world, I never found anything else than a candle as the source of light when night comes. I can't lie to myself that I found it unreliable and inefficient as the source of light. Although I also found it pretty soothing, the safety and effectiveness of a candle are so pale in comparison to a simple light bulb. An example is the moment where I found myself in right now. I couldn't see clearly what the house looked like if I used my sight alone, and the meals on the table got shadowy at the edge of their bowls. It's ruined a bit of the aesthetic and comfort of a dinner. But all of these complaints were only coming from my former contractor's personality. Living in modern times where I could just move a switch to illuminate a whole room perfectly, or just put some magicals and materialize them into particles of light, this situation tickles me to the bone. Nevertheless, Aside from the ticklish sensation about the current civilization in this world, I found myself comfortable with the company of this little family. I managed to have a meal for free with a young family that barely knew who I was. Besides, where's my manner in letting my ungrateful side let loose like this? I look at the table. I can see there are 4 bowls of meat stew, a loaf of bread, a plate of cheese, and a basket of berries. There's also a jar of water, along with 4 empty mugs. I can see the stew is still hot from the heatwave. It looks delicious. I intentionally complimented the menu. The rest of the 3 were looking at each other, followed by a proud smile from Lars-san and Marlene-san. I'm pleased you like it, Johan-kun. It's actually a bit too simple for a feast. Yes, I was actually worried since we haven't gone to the market for a while. I can only cook the only available one in our racks. I smiled at them, truly grateful for their hospitality. I didn't expect a free food like this when I decided to have a short break in this village. Oh please, don't bother yourself too much like that. I feel indebted for having a meal like this. No need, it's Marlene's fault anyways. But I'm glad you're pretty easygoing so we can patch it up with a dinner. Dear, I know I'm messing things up, but I didn't mean to. I know, sorry for blaming you. I didn't mean it like that, Marlene. Geez, at least next time tell me if the plants haven't been ready yet. But you're the one who always watering them, right? But I don't know their condition. I just knew when to water them. It's simple, Marlene. It's not difficult to find out how. No, they're not, at least unlike flowers which obviously bloom when they're ready. Now that one I don't understand, they all colored the same as when they start to grow. Because you cannot see a beauty, Lars. I watch this bickering with an awkward feeling. I mean, I haven't been able to scoop the food into my mouth because the host hasn't started eating yet. I awkwardly glance at both of them one to another, but they don't realize my gaze. They are too focused on each other. Uncle Johann, suddenly I felt a grip of a tiny hand pulling my tunic. I looked at the hand and found that the child, Willie if I remember correctly, was looking at me while his other hand holding a spoon. I was going to ask if he wanted to say something, but he was ahead of me. Please don't mind them. Let's eat before them. It will take a while for them to calm down. Oh, is that so? He started to scoop his spoon inside his mouth, then continued while chewing, it's best to eat while it's still hot. Along with a happy smile. Hey, you're right. I smiled back at him. I guess this bicker between Lars-san and Marlene-san wasn't a big deal and just a typical daily activity for this household. You can look like it because right now, Willie seems to be smiling happily. So I started to eat the stew while looking at Willie who happily ate his portion. Today, I have seen 2 children having a good time for having a good meal. But sadly, both of them are not the same. Uncle Johann, what's wrong? Suddenly Willie is looking at me, with his mouth still chewing the food. Oh no, it's nothing Willie-kun. I just remembered about someone who also has a happy face when eating delicious food. Hey, does that person look like me? Not in particular. The only similarity between you and her is both of you are still a kid. In fact, she might be a lot older than you. But I'm 7 now. I should be grown enough not to be called a kid. I chuckled and patted his head. For me, you are still a child. And that's not a bad thing. But it's bad for me, because mom and dad never let me get the biggest portion of cheese because of it. PFF'd. I can't hold my laugh at that one. He was clearly a bit surprised, but suddenly changed into annoyed after realizing I was laughing at his reason. But it's true. Every time I want the big chunk, they say, the biggest part should belong to dad. And, you're still a child, it's too much for you. It's annoying. He pouted while still scooping the spoon into his mouth. But it only made my laugh last longer. My laugh was unintentionally louder than I expected, and it succeeded in making Lars-san and Marlene-san stop their arguments. They look at me with a confused look, wondering what's going on. But to tell you the truth, I find it funny because I probably would do the same as Lars-san if I had a kid. It would be very amusing to tease the junior version of you. I heard that it was pretty easy to get teased, so I wonder how it feels to tease the one who looks like me. Then the solution is to have a child, master. No, not that radical seal. No, not yet. Is something going on between the two of you? Lars-san asked me and Willie-kun. Uncle Johan is laughing at me for being a kid, he pointed at me with an annoyed look. In response, Lars-san looked at him with a more confused look, followed with, "But you're a kid, Willie." "Arg. I knew you wouldn't be good." Willie responded, with a slight anger in his tone. But he chose to set it aside, then grab a piece of bread and chew it aggressively. Looking confused, Lars-san changed his gaze to his wife, but she just shrugged, and strangely, she giggled and then started to eat her stew. Lars-san is still confused and wondering what is going on, but neither of us is willing to tell him. Marlene-san and Willie-kun didn't say anything, and I grew a pity on him, so I decided to speak. "Nothing important, Lars-san. I just had a small talk with Willie-kun here, and he said something about disliking the fact that he's still a kid." "Ah, so that's the thing, huh?" He snickered and started to scoop his spoon into his mouth. And just that. I honestly expected something more of backlash after knowing what Willie-kun and I have been talking about before. But turns out, Lars-san only gave a snicker and brushed it off with silence and started to eat the dinner. Well, it's better than having another whole argument during dinner time. And with that, the dinner has continued with a tranquil atmosphere. "You know, I've been wondering about something, Johan-kun." "What is it, Lars-san?" We both stayed in the dining room after finishing the dinner. Marlene-san and Willie-kun had gone to another room, probably to go to bed. Meanwhile, I and Lars-san still in the dining room with another mug of wine in our hands. After a moment of silence, Lars-san is the one who talks first. "You're going to Saltina, right?" "Yes, I am. Is there something wrong?" "I actually have a favor to ask." "Who? What is it?" "Can I ask you to deliver a message?" "To whom?" "My nephew. He's my brother's son, but my brother died 2 years ago and his wife, well, she found another man, but the new guy didn't treat my nephew well. The last time I heard about my nephew was when he started to work as a helper in the royal castle stable. I want him to know that I am still thinking about him. So could you please send the letter from me?" It wouldn't take too much time, right? Just send a letter and I'll do my business. Besides, I've been treated to this good meal, at least helping him won't trouble me much. I didn't see any problem with that, Lars-san. I'll send your message to him. Who is his name? Pilmont. He's already 13 years old, so he's not that kid anymore. He has black wrinkled hair, and his eyes are brown. I don't remember how tall he is, but he is definitely taller than the average teen. You could ask him to the castle's guards, I'm pretty sure they would know him. He's a pretty friendly person. All right, I'll give your letter to him. No problem, Lars-san. Thank you very much. By the way, do you have a place to sleep, Johan-kun? It's getting dark, you should rest immediately and depart tomorrow. I could share a place for you tonight if you want. Thank you for the offer, but I already booked an inn inside the town. I can't say I'm planning to continue my journey tonight, right? The night journey could be dangerous for a normal human. And in Lars-san's eyes, I'm just a teenager who still lacks experience. I cannot act outside of that image. That's why I lied to him by saying I was already booking an inn inside the town. Oh, is that so? That's a bit unfortunate. I would love to host a guest like you, Johan-kun. Thank you very much for your offer, Lars-san. Maybe next time when I got back from the capital, I would take a visit here. Sure. I'll tell Marlene to always welcome you. I'll stock up more wine when you come next time. We both smiled at those remarks and continued to chat for a while. We talked a bit about his nephew, Pilmont. Lars-san said that he intended to take custody of his nephew since his brother died, but Marlene-san had a bit of objection since they still barely had money to take care of him. It's not like Marlene-san didn't care for Pilmont, but she has reasons for stating his objections. The money issue is one of those, as Marlene-san wanted Pilmont to have some money during his time in this household. Another reason is she trusted her brother-in-law's wife, believing that she was a good mother who wouldn't abandon Pilmont. But after one thing to another, the reality is different. Pilmont is not entirely abandoned, but he is as good as being alone since his father died. That's why, after having the confidence to take care of another child, Lars-san and Marlene-san decided it was time to take care of Pilmont. I admire their decision and willingness to take care of their family members. During my lifetime in Japan, Almost all of my relatives are independent. My parents are living in peaceful life, and I don't have any close relations with other family members. We would help each other if needed, but as long as I live there, no one is ever asking me for help. My whole family seems to be amazing in some way. Our topic has shifted to the geographical condition around Saltina. The road toward Saltina could be dangerous during the nighttime. There is a road built for travel between Locana and Saltina, but it is still far from secure. There could be a bandit or some rogue knight who abusing his authority. There is also a bridge which can be dangerous since it crosses you not just from a river, but a cliff. During the day, it would be a piece of cake. But during the night, it can be dangerous since it's a good spot for an ambush from bandits. Well, all of this would pose no problem to me since I could fly and pass by those troubles with ease. But it's a good thing to know. So I kept listening to Lars Sand's warning, just in case I had to deal with those kinds of things with some unexpected events. That's all I can tell you about your journey up ahead. It's a good decision to have a rest for tonight. I hope you have a safe journey for tomorrow, Johan-kun. Thank you, Lars Sand. I will also make sure this letter is delivered. As I lift a scroll of paper which is the letter from Lars Sand. Actually, during our talks, Lars Sand is writing a letter for Pilmont. After he finished writing, I also excused myself for leaving. Marlene Sand and Willie Kuhn had already been asleep, so when I left the house, there was only Lars Sand who accompanied me. I shake my hands and bid my farewell, saying that I would come to visit once I get back. I honestly wouldn't visit here after I get back from Saltina, but I come back when I have time to have fun alone. So after I walk my way further from the village, I spread my wings again and fly towards the capital, Saltina. I got a chance to enjoy the night sky during this flight. The sight of thousands of stars standing still no matter how fast I'm flying gives me the idea of how big the universe is. Yet, it's not a bad thing since it means I still have a long way to go and I don't have to worry about boredom. There are still many worlds out there, which we can travel whenever you pleased, Master. Yeah, you got it right. But not for now. Right now I may be doing whatever I pleased, but back in my homeworld, I was facing a great war. And just like you said, Seal, we'll finish this off one by one. Understood, Master. And while we continue our flight, would you like to hear the analysis from the report we obtained from the information broker? So you've finished. Then please enlighten me, Seal. Yes, Master. Then, I shall explain. Very well, and I shall listen. Although it's a military report, the sources are variant. It's not just from a military, but also a statement from every kind of people who's encountering the mysterious men. I found stories from merchants, nobles, peasants, and of course the army. Some are even from. All right, Seal, what makes these people in the same report? Because they were foretold by the military higher-ups. I'm not very sure about the reason why, but it surprisingly has the same basics. It's almost like a repeated story, which is only being added by one of the other people. It's pretty fascinating that with the lack of education, almost all of them telling the same report. So that means, they all saw the same thing. That's the most possible answer, Master. As for the contents, it is about the injuries and cause of death during the pursuit of these mysterious men. There are various injuries in the report, but they all have broken bones and unclean cuts. The most common parts of the body that got injured were the lower parts such as the legs and foot. There are also a lot of hand injuries, but the lower parts are more common. I see, but can you analyze what causes it? It is pretty difficult to autopsy the bodies in the report with how limited the details inside it are. But from the basic pattern of injuries and cause of death, I can conclude that the mysterious man mostly used a blunt object to attack and to some extent, he can manipulate ground. What? Manipulating ground? What do you mean by that, Seal? I meant what I said, Master. There are many stories in the report to make me conclude that, but I decided this one is the most clear for depicting what happened. Then, one sheet of paper appeared inside my bag. I took it and read it carefully. That man is running through the Stolsen plain with bare feet. It's been months since the last rain in that area, so the soil should be pretty hard. I gave a chase to him with my bodyguards, we all riding a horse. I believe we could catch him right now. He looks very weak, his clothes are tattered. Seems like he's not that tough. Besides, He's not a warrior to begin with. So it's impossible for him to be able to outrun me. With that in mind, I spur my horse and chase him down. But after 100 meters, I sensed something wrong beneath me. My horse is slowing down, and I hear some nasty sound under my feet. I quickly looked down, and was surprised to see the soil where I stood had become sticky mud. I never saw this kind of mud, not even the mud on the rice field in Mule Kingdom would be this sticky. I looked up again and saw that our ground was practically surrounded by mud. It's getting thicker and thicker as far as we move. But I can still see that the wanted man is running desperately, although I am confused about how his ground is possibly still dry. So this must be it. This is the magic, the power he possessed. But he's still desperately running, and he looks pathetic. I could not waste this chance, so I dismounted from my horse along with my bodyguards. It's rather easier to move with our feet rather than horse feet in this kind of mud. So I ran with all my might and I almost caught up with him. But suddenly, I felt something hard hit my face. I immediately fell down, but soon my bodyguards helped me to stand up. And that's when the wanted man charged against us. He was alone, and I brought along 10 warriors with me. To fight against this puny man, it should be easy. As long as he didn't use any trickery or that damned magic, we should be able to overwhelm him. So the idea that he was the one who charged us, it's baffled me. Yet, it's a good opportunity. I raised my shield and sword, I was expecting he was about to ram my shield. But to my surprise, he clenched his fist and hit my shield with his bare hands. I was surprised to feel how powerful his blow was. I can't remember the rest since the only thing I remember from that point, I saw him raise his other hand and hit my face. Lord Mudwan. What the, Seal, are there other stories like this one? Indeed there is, Master. But the main point is the same. People are chasing him, and he's able to outrun all of them by either manipulating the ground or overwhelming them by sheer force. And most of the encounter I read is this mysterious man was only fighting with bare hands. So basically, he indeed can manipulate grounds and has the power to send a man with a shield to fly away with his bare hands. Yes it is, Master. However it still lacks details, so I couldn't identify what kind of power it is. But I can say, it resembles a bit of power from spirit. Spirit A, but aren't there no spirits in this world? Indeed, Master. I have sensed no spirit is dwelling in this world. This is getting more confusing. And if this power indeed exists, why we cannot detect it? This is also a mystery for me, Master. However, I can see the particles from the footage of Captain Allen and Hinata having a spar. Right, where are those particles coming from? It seems to be appear from inside of Captain Allen's body, Master. So this power is coming from inside of the person's body. If so, why not everybody could unleash that power? We need more data, Master. You're right again, Seal. We have to gather more data than we have right now. I've spent a day just obtaining this piece of clue, now I'm not sure I can do it with only 2 days remaining. We will find it, Master. And we will uncover it. It's nice to be optimistic, partner. All right, let's continue our journey. Let's straight away to Saltina and infiltrate their royal castle. I have to look for more data. Don't forget we also need to gather good cards to play for the upcoming negotiations, Master. I know Seal, but I may not be as lucky as today. Today I managed to secure a fine wine trade by sheer luck of my alcohol knowledge. It could help to convince some nobles to join our side for our secure finest wine trade, but I still need more. Just what is it? Help. Is there someone screaming? Help. Master. I detected 2 people down the cliff. One of them is dying and the other is heavily injured. Whooshish. I immediately dive into where that scream came from. I wouldn't spare other details for now, but from Ciel's report alone, I could conclude that these guys were falling from the cliff. I regretted it a bit since I was too focused on discussing things with Ciel until I didn't realize I was already flying above a canyon. I detected the source of that scream coming from below the bridge where it connected 2 edges of the cliff. Of course, I didn't land right next to them, but I landed just a couple of meters from them. I'm sure they won't even see me before I arrive next to them. As I land my feet on the ground, I sense water flowing under my shoes. It seems this is also a small river. But there are many huge rocks over here. I was horrified to see that the two guys had landed on one of these rocks. I almost can't believe they survived falling from such a height. It's more than 200 meters in height, and they landed on the rocks. Well, they ride a carriage. The wreckage is somewhere near this area, but I didn't detect any horse. But let's not think about it for now, as I have two dying people in front of me right now. Hang on. I screamed while running towards them. Huh. The one who screamed looked surprised to see me, as if he didn't expect anyone would come this fast. But I don't care for it right now as I notice both of his legs were fractured. No, it was crushed. It's pretty amazing how he could stay conscious after that. Perhaps, an adrenaline has kicked in. Don't talk. Stay calm. As I said it, I immediately used my holy magic, heal. With my power, this much is still a piece of cake. Although I would prefer using a full potion, considering how humans in this world didn't have compatibility with magicals, made me worried it wouldn't work. Huh. He looks beyond stunned, but I also cast another spell for him. Well, it's a spell to make him sleep so he won't remember what he saw right now. At best, he would only remember vaguely. As I finished treating him, it was time for another one. And this one is much more severe. I wouldn't spare the details, but just for reference, almost all his bones are not in good condition. You can imagine how bad it looks like. It was very severe. If he didn't get treated immediately, he would die in less than minutes. His condition was so bad that I had to cast a higher heal. I dragged them up to a better place. I placed them lying down on a soft ground and made a bonfire in their place. They would surely shocked when they woke up. I'm sure they would remember that they were falling from a cliff up above them, but there is no trace of injury in their bodies would surely make them confused. I can alter their memories, master. It is probably better to. Hold on. I know it's an effective way and harmless if you are the one who did it, but I feel like it's still the wrong thing to do. Besides, I wouldn't be here when they wake up. I would leave them here right now and continue my own business. All right, master. But if I could suggest, you better recover their carriage as well. Ah, yes, sure. I won't steal anything, I just want to check if their belongings are safe. So I walked over to their wrecked carriage and then investigated what they brought. Their cargo. Well, their belongings were scattered around but not too far. I found many trivial goods such as clothes and food. I also found some weapons, but I thought they brought them only for their own self-defense. I wonder where are the horses? I questioned myself since it was very strange for the horse to disappear. So I flew my way above and immediately found some horses' trace near the bridge. But the trace never made it into the bridge. This is certainly strange. Ha 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 ha. Huh. As I pondered things, a sudden laughter could be heard nearby. I looked around and with my universal sense, I found a group of 6 people trying to make a fire. Sensing this would be a trouble to leave it at it, I make my way towards them in silence. They were pretty far, but not so far from the site. But as I got closer, I could see them a bit from my naked eye. It's a full moon tonight, and I can see them with it. I could also hear what they were saying. As soon as I was near them, I got a better look at all 6 of them. They were all men, wearing light armor and minimum weapons. As far as I could see, they only brought bows and daggers. But they certainly look skilled. Don't get too loud, idiot. We were supposed to remain unnoticed. You're the one who's an idiot. There is no way anyone would come here at this time. Yeah. Besides, it's unnecessary to keep hidden. They are all traitors anyway. You're right, even if we get exposed, we're on the right side. We protect the kingdom from these traitors. On that note, I wonder if our king would remain supporting the prince. Who's that wrench name again? Terrace, if I'm not mistaken. Terrace. Isn't he Constance's brother? Isn't he our enemy right now? It is, master. Then, this is going to be very important. So I kept my presence hidden and continued listening. Oh right, what a ridiculous name. Acting so important, turns out he's just sending spies. What a detestable fox. But clearly those spies are tough. I could hear one of them screaming when they fell to the cliff. It should be impossible for a normal person to stay alive after falling from that height. Bah, it's just a damn luck. I once heard a story about a merchant who fell off from that cliff but then found alive the next day. Come on, Ollie, we all know that story. He was very lucky to land in the area where there's a lot of natural foothold. He only falls in short height. That's my point, dingus. It's just a damn luck. But we throw them away where there is no foothold anywhere. They simply fall straight to the bottom. It must be because of that magic. You guys still thinking about that magic? Ha, all I could say was I didn't believe it. That's because you never fought with them. You wouldn't believe how powerful they are. Blah blah blah. This is enough bullshit. The important thing is, we managed to finish our task. Come on, let's make a fire and make some food. I'm starving here. Yes, just a second. The firewood is wet. I'll go get some other firewood. I'll come with him. Me as well. I hope I find some wild pig around here. If that's what you intended, I'll come as well. Ha, so only 2 men staying, eh? I don't mind. I'm tired anyway. Then there's no problem. Ollie, you better watch Dillian's back. Relax, I would definitely stay on guard. But on the contrary, I could see he was slumping his body on the soft ground and turning back against the guy who was talking to him. Seeing this, the guy earlier only sighed and walked away from their place along with others. So, right now there are only 2 guys named Ollie and Dillian. Ollie seems to be a pretty fierce fighter since he's the one with a more fiery tone during the earlier conversation. Dillian, on the other hand, seems to be a much calmer man since from the beginning, he stays focused on making a bonfire. As for the others, I couldn't judge anything about them since I don't even know their names. But the question now is, what should I do about them? Is it wise to let them be? They have done nothing to me, and heck, even who they killed was technically my enemy as well. But something feels off to let them be. Well, as much as I don't like them, it was better to not do something unnecessary. If I want to gather information, then those 2 guys who have been thrown to the cliff is the one who I should be asked. What do you think, Seal? Those assassins are just doing their job, they don't have any information that is related to our purpose right now. On the other hand, those who had been their target must have information that we might find useful, Master. Exactly what I thought. So perhaps I should come back to the 2 guys earlier. Hey, is the fire ready? Suddenly I heard Ollie's voice. No good. The firewood is wet. We should wait for Killian to come back. Arg, I knew it. Do we bring some food? I found some berries earlier, and I found some dried meat inside the pocket from those horses. Horses. Ah, I guess that's the horse I've been looking for. Good, can I have it? Go suit yourself, Ollie. You know where the horses are. Yeah, I'll go get it by myself. I can see him clearly because of my universal sense, so I don't have to follow him to find out what he's doing. For some reason, I kept staying there since I'm still curious about these guys. As much as I already decided whatever they knew wouldn't be valuable for me, I still think they might reveal something interesting. Something like earlier today where I thought having breakfast with Millie-chan wouldn't result in anything, but ended up leading to a bigger opportunity to obtain what I need. Most probably we can gather some information about the royal castle of Silica, Master. Although I already analyzed the castle structure, I still think we might need to gather more information about the people who live inside and guard it. Nice point, Seal. I could infiltrate the castle unnoticed, but it's better to be safe. Several minutes after Ollie had taken some food from the horse's bag, he examined the horses for a while. He looked at the fur and touched the heads. I don't know what that means, but it seems he realized something and cannot wait to share it with Dillian. Hey Dillian, I just found something interesting. What is it? If you want to say the food is delicious, then good for you. Not that, you idiot. The horses they used to run away, are not regular horses. Of course, they weren't. They stole it from the castle stable. It's a war horse. Our war horse is supposedly in tight security, right? They should, but even for us, it's not that difficult to steal one. Even for someone like you, stealing a war horse is pretty easy, right? I know. The easiest one is to bribe the caretakers. If they stole it in that way, then we should discipline some of the caretakers. I could hear Dillian sighing. Before responding, I knew what you were aiming for. But I don't want to join you. I prefer practicing my archery when we're back. Ha ha ha. You're no fun. I already have some ideas about who's gonna taste my whip. Ha, Do what you want. Just don't overdo it. Ha. This time, I would do as I please. He really needs to be disciplined anyway. Yeah, just don't ever say I never warned you. The Castellan won't let you off if he finds one of his staff was hurt. You know that old man's personality. That's the point. Have you ever seen this Pilmont boy who was always a favorite of that old Castellan? That boy is smart for getting close to that old man, but he becomes a sore in my eyes for gaining privilege in the castle. A mere caretaker has a soft bed. Come on. That boy would be a weakling. Oh boy, did I hear it right? Did Ollie really say Pilmont? From the sound of it, it would turn into a bad situation. Lars-san already said that Pilmont is a sociable person, but I didn't know he was this kind of person. But even so, I would feel guilty if I let it be. Did not prevent something bad, although I had a chance to stop it, would make me a bad one. Even so, how should I stop it? Should I step in there? We could go now and warn him immediately, Master. Yes, we can, but he would be suspicious of me for being able to know this. Besides, if Pilmont's suddenly missing, would he be targeted for treason? If he was still there, he could prove his innocence. That is if he is truly innocent. And I hope he does. Lars-san wouldn't like it if he's working for bad people. Well, at least I should give him that chance. Seeing this Ollie guy just want to get a beating because of jealousy is something I cannot tolerate anyway. Perhaps, I could step in right now. But before that, I made a parallel existence of myself to take care of the two guys I saved earlier. Well, the two guys that have been murdered by them. Just in case they were already awake, my other me would try to question them. Well, good luck to me. Before I reveal myself, I used my material creation to make me look like a traveler. I made a bigger backpack, a stick, and a wool jacket. With CL's help, they look like secondhand stuff. It will help me to look like a real traveler. To make it more convincing, inside my backpack I made various traveling items. After finished, I stopped my art to erase my presence and moved around a bit to make some noise. Apparently, these guys were some kind of elite unit from the Silica Kingdom, much like Soe Shadow Squad. Because of this, I believe some little movement I make would make them raise their guard. And I was right. After taking 2 steps forward and moving a bush around a bit, I saw Dillion reaching his bow immediately and aiming in my direction. With my calculation, he would miss his shot, but nonetheless, it is still pretty impressive how he can accurately detect the sound and immediately take action. Ollie, on the other hand, is a bit slower. Once he saw Dillion aiming with his bow, he immediately did the same and aimed in my direction. Who's there? Ollie made the first try to communicate. I immediately stand up and raise both of my arms. As I did that, they fixed their aims immediately and I can see they wouldn't miss their shot this time. Well, it's not that those arrows would harm me anyway. I'm sorry. I didn't mean any harm, I swear. Huh. A boy. What are you doing here? Ollie is the one who asks questions. At the same time, Dillion is still in quiet. I just happened to walk nearby. I'm traveling. Yeah. I'm heading to Saltina. I didn't lie, I swear. Traveling at this time. Don't think we are fools, little boy. Give me a reason to not loosen my arrow to you right now. How about I treat you to some wine? I just bought these wines from Locana. I will share it for free. A wine? Ollie was immediately intrigued and lowered his bow a bit. But he's still on guard. Dillion, meanwhile, still aiming his bow perfectly, didn't even budge for my treat. It's gonna be difficult to ease these guys. Yes. It's a fine wine. And don't worry, I would also share the food I brought. I brought quite a lot, so I think it would be nice to share it with more people. Ollie and Dillion looking at each other. They already lowered their guard a bit but were still suspicious of me. Well, I knew it wouldn't be easy. And to make matters worse, Master, I detect the other 4 have surrounded us. It seems we attracted them and they came back immediately. I sense a very hostile reaction. It also seems that 2 out of 4 are planning to take you down from behind. Goo, you're right, Seal. I can also sense them. They were close. If I were being restrained by them, it would be more terrible. I can only have one chance to prove good intentions right now before getting ambushed. But if it failed, I had no choice other than to fight. Listen. I'm sorry, okay. I didn't mean to disturb you. I just happened to walk my way to Saltina and I hear some noises here. I wonder if anybody is having a camp here. I like to talk, so I came here in the hope of finding a companion. But if you don't want me to hang around here, I'll leave right now, okay? I can sense the other hidden four has stopped. I got a bit relieved, even though the other two in front of me were still on guard. I also heard someone between the four mumbling, "Damn, it's Ollie's fault." Then why didn't you say that earlier? Are you really alone? Sorry. I can't think straight when you both are aiming your bows at me. And yes, I came alone. That's why any kind of companion, I would love to have some talks in my journey. Hearing that, Ollie lowered his bow and almost completely took his guard off at me. He also patted Dillion's shoulder, whispering, "He looks harmless to me. I think he was just some fool who stumbled upon us. I don't mind if you kill him, but I won't do it." After hearing that Dillion was also lowering his bow, he still looked at me intently, but he was not hostile anymore. The other hidden four had also ended their hostility towards me, but they didn't immediately come back to their camp. Probably they would continue their search for firewood and the hunting, then pretend to not know I was here right now. Looks like for now, they would disguise themselves as an ordinary hunter or something. Very well, sorry for startling you. Who are you? This time, it's Dillion who asking me questions. My name is Johan, and as I said before, I was heading to Saltina. I see. Where are you from? I'm from a town named Kel. That's pretty far. Come now, you must be tired. Have a seat here. Dillion has almost completely changed his tone into a more humble one, his act also showing more hospitality. I guess he didn't want me to get suspicious about him and Ollie. So he immediately changed his demeanor into an easygoing personality. I guess these guys are really some kind of elite unit. To make things easier, I would not pry about who they are. But, I would slowly try to talk about Ollie's punishment for Pilmont. So, Johan-kun, you said earlier that you had some food to share. I'm sorry, but we are rather hungry right now. Care to share some? Of course. I have some dried meat, cheese, fruits, and, here it is. A fine wine I just bought in Locana. I let out those various kinds of food from my backpack, which I actually just recently made with my all of creation. Seeing all these foods I brought, Ollie's eyes looked glimmering with happiness, especially with the wine one. That pretty nice stuff you got there, kid. Mind if I take some? Ollie asks me while touching the wine bottle. Of course, I also still got one more bottle here. It should be enough for the three of us. Dillion and Ollie look at each other for a split second, then Dillion says, "We actually have 4 other companions. They were looking for some firewood so we could make a fire right now. If you're okay to share with both of us, you should also share for the rest other 4. Of course. No need to reserve yourself. I like to have more companions. The more, the merrier, right?" Dillion chuckled, followed by Ollie grabbing one of the wine bottles while saying, "Yeah, sometimes it's better to have more friends." In response, I took out every food I made from inside my bag and served it to both of them. Probably out of politeness, Dillion only took a small portion of it as he only took a little bit of cheese and fruits. Ollie on the other hand had bussying himself with wine. Looking at the situation, I think it's probably a good time to say something about Pilmont. The rest of the 4 haven't come back yet, and with my universal sense, I already detect their position. They are still pretty far, but not so far to rushing down here if something wrong happened. They seem to be hunting some squirrels and rabbits. I think it's better to talk about it now while the other 4 haven't arrived yet. But first, I have to lighten the mood a bit more. As you already know, my name is Johan. Care to share your names? I don't mind. My name is Dillion, and he is Ollie. I see. Are you both from Saltina? Yes, we are all from Saltina. Although we were born in different towns and cities. Must be nice to have a hometown. You don't have one. I do, and it's Kel. I decided to go on a journey, searching for a better place. I see. Well, Saltina is a pretty good place to live. If you are lucky, you could live there for the rest of your life. Ha ha ha. Well, I don't really plan to stay for long there. Why? I only looking for something there. Something that would make my life a bit better. I'm curious. Is it some sort of good? Yeah, a book to be precise. I have saved a pretty much money to buy it. I showed my remaining money in the pouch from Bisel13. That seems a pretty lot. Be careful about carrying it, some people would steal it from you. Don't worry. That's why I brought this. I showed my sword to them, and this time, Ollie was the one who got interested. Who? So you know how to swing a sword, huh? Asked Ollie. I'm just average, Ollie-san. Well, at least I can defend myself from an amateur swordsman. Interesting. Hey, care to have some bout with me? I'm pretty bored now. While we wait for the other, it's better to loosen up your muscles a bit, right? Oi Ollie. He's a traveler. I bet he's tired. Don't go spouting nonsense like that. Johan-kun, don't listen to this guy. He's just a maniac. I'm actually okay with it, Dillion-san. But I'm worried since I don't see Ollie-san have a sword. Ha ha ha. Boy, are you a knight or something? Don't underestimate me, kid. For me, this is already enough. He lifts his huge dagger from his belt and swings it a bit to warm himself up. I frowned inside my heart. I mean, having a bout with them would surely be beneficial for me right now. If I want to defend Pilmont, it probably would be better to show them that I'm not just a weak teenager who begs for mercy for a friend. I have to give some impression that I'm not someone who can be easily messed with. But now I'm a bit confused about how much powerful I should show them. Should I lose with a slight margin, or win? If I lose against him who only wields a dagger, it would show I'm indeed weak. But if I win even though he's serious, I'm gonna be suspected a bit. Well, in the end, it's really up to Ollie on how much seriousness he's going to show. He looks a bit drunk, so I would probably find himself attacking me with intent to kill. If I win against a serious elite unit, what kind of impression I make to them? Then, I would decide later. Depends on how much seriousness he's shown to me. But for now, I think a draw would be enough. Alright. I also happen to miss to swing my sword as well. I'm taking your challenge, Ollie-san. Hearing that, Dillion-san sighed and scratched his head. Eventually, he says, fine, just don't overdo yourself. We are lucky to have a full moon tonight. We might be able to see each other pretty clearly. However, Johan-kun, despite how he looks, Ollie is an experienced hunter. Don't push yourself too far. I nodded, and said, don't worry, I also practicing during the night. Grinning from the edge of the mouth, Ollie readied his stance and said, looks like it's gonna be fine if I got serious a bit. He certainly underestimated you, master. I know, but it makes sense since he doesn't know who I am actually. I stood up and readied my sword. I prepared myself to have a dramatic fight since I would be holding back very much, but I had to make it look like I was struggling. The light from the moon is barely make us visible, and the only cause I can see them is because I have universal sense. For Ollie-san, I'm sure he's experienced with night combat, so it should be pretty interesting to see how well he fights in the dark. Ready, fight. As Dillion-san gave a shout to begin, Ollie-san immediately ran to me and thrust his dagger into my torso. But I deflected with my sword, in the utmost dramatic way I could think. I hurried to take a step back, exhaling my breath loudly. I want to look like I was surprised by the attack but still managed to fend it off. Very good. You seem to have let down your guard, but you really paying attention. That's good, however. He threw his dagger to my leg, but I once again made it to evade. But in a split second, he ran towards me with a clenched fist. He tried to hit my head with his bare hands, but I blocked it with my sword's hilt. He continued to attack with both of his fists and kicks, trying to keep me occupied. I also tried to swing my sword towards him with an obvious trajectory, so he could dodge it pretty easily. I honestly praised him for being so bold to fight me with just a bare hand while I was wielding a sword. He probably tried to utilize darkness since he always tried to attack from unexpected places. And I would be honest, if I were only using my naked eye, I wouldn't see where the attack came from. But because I didn't just use my naked eye, I managed to deflect, block, and even counter his attack. I am obviously able to end this bout with ease, but I have to make appear that I'm just an amateur swordsman. Seconds later, he backed off and we had a little break. Amazing. Your attacks are sloppy, but you're amazing at defending yourself. Even when I got a bit serious, none of my attacks were successful. You got a good senses. Thanks for the compliment, however, I would be a goner if you struck me with all your might. Ha ha ha. Don't worry, kid, just do your best and you'll find how good you are. He immediately picked up his dagger again, then swung it horizontally towards my head. Is he seriously trying to kill me? This time, he attacked me using his dagger. However, he mostly tried to feint as he gave me a lot of openings but then trapped me with a deadly move when I tried to utilize the opening he made. He also tried to disarm me by attacking my hands and deliberately aiming at my palm. Knowing that he wanted me to take the attacking position, I deliberately took the bait, but I planned to make a little surprise to him. I increased a bit of my speed and put a tiny bit of strength in my swing. He surely was surprised by this, since suddenly he was the one who was barely able to detect where the attack's coming from. But it seemed he was not getting more serious, since I knew with his movement before, he could manipulate my movement with more complex feints, yet he didn't. With this, I decided to end this bout with a win for me. If he doesn't want to get more serious, it is probably better to appear as the winner. Winning against not serious elite would give an impression about me to be strong enough. So in the next move, I ran towards him while I raised my sword diagonally and swung it hard toward his dagger. I raised my speed a bit more and succeeded in surprising him until he could not react to my attack. My sword hit the dagger with overwhelming power for an average human, and the dagger flew away several meters above and landed pretty far. But before the dagger could hit the ground, I already pointing my sharp edge towards his neck. Looks like it's my win. Ollie looks stunned for seconds. At that moment, he's still looking at my sword pointing at his throat. I also saw a glimpse of Dillion's reaction. He also looks surprised by it. Seeing they both stunned, I sheathed my sword and stood still while showing a bit of smugness on my face, pretending to be delighted that I succeeded in winning the bout. After several other seconds passed, Ollie let out a pretty loud laugh. Ha ha ha. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Boy, you could become a knight with that skill. Hey, why don't you enlist to become a knight? I help you to get through the process, I could get to tell. You're clearly more than just average, Johan-kun. Certainly, you got a great sword skills. No wonder you're able to travel alone without worrying about your own safety. Dillion, cutting the line from Ollie, probably tried to hide who they were. It's plausible since Ollie looks like he gonna tell who's he acquainted with. Haha, thank you, guys. But it's draining my stamina. Excuse me, now I need water. I pretend to get exhausted and walk towards my bag. I take a bottle and drink it in one go. After the bout, Ollie seems to be more friendlier to me as he always tries to approach me and say various stuff. Dillion is watching him to ensure he doesn't disclose anything about their real identity and what they have done recently. Sensing the mood was getting livelier, I gambled myself to start speaking about Pilmont. This would be a gamble since I cannot give any reason other than eavesdropping their talks earlier as the cause of why I want to talk about Pilmont. I just hoped the earlier bout and my hospitality wouldn't make them hostile towards me after saying I'd been eavesdropping on them earlier. You know, I'd like to apologize for something. Huh? What for? Ollie asked while Dillion started to look at me more intently. It's nothing much really. I swear I didn't mean no harm to you guys, but, actually, I've been unintentionally hearing a bit of what you guys talking about before you found me. From this sentence, I could see Dillion getting tense and secretly grabbing his gear while keeping a straight face. Ollie still smiling, but his right hand has been put on the dagger's hilt. They seem to be preparing to kill me if I said I heard they had killed some people before. But I don't have any intention to say anything about it. Oh. What did you hear, Johan-kun? Asked Ollie. It's not clear. But I heard something about, taste my whip, to someone named Pilmont, is that true? Is that what you hear? Yes, I also heard something like this Pilmont is being favorited by Castellan or something. But that's all I heard. I swear I didn't hear anything before that. Dillion and Ollie looking at each other. They are still tensed after I say that I overheard what they talking about. But probably, they didn't want to kill me and hope that I still didn't know anything about them. So, to embrace the depiction of my innocence, I gave one more push. I don't know who you are, but I guess you're some kind of servant who takes a hunting task, right? That question is an intentional misunderstanding, to make it appear I was drawing a wrong conclusion about who they are. After hearing that, Dillion let out a relieved sigh. Along with a small laugh from Ollie. Yes, we are. We work in the royal castle. I'm just a servant, Ollie is a guard. The others were also a guard. We just happened to have some experience of going hunting. That's why, on some occasions, we served as the hunter. Supplying the meat for the king and his family. I see. Must be fun to have time to go outside. You bet it, boy. It's more fun to stay in the wild than staying in that castle. Hey, you seem to be interested in Pilmont's name. Do you know him? Yes, actually. I'm acquainted with his uncle. I also happened to ask a favor by him to send this. I showed a roll of paper. It's a letter from Lars Sand for Pilmont. What is that? Is that a letter? Yes, it is. It's a letter from his uncle, asking him to stay with them. His uncle wants to take custody of him. So, if Pilmont accepted, he will be moving from Saltina. Did you bothered when I said I'll punish him? Yes, of course. Although it's still just recently I was acquainted with his uncle, we were getting along immediately. I'm afraid to imagine how he feels to see his nephew being punished. By the way, what's his fault anyway? Dillion really kept his silence from the moment I started to talk about Pilmont. Seems like he enjoys it because it teaches a lesson for Ollie to not always do whatever he pleases. On the contrary, Ollie seems uncomfortable continuing this conversation. But I knew he wouldn't be hostile towards me even though I kept pressing around about it. It's because he knew I was a pretty strong person, and he already had a good impression of me. Besides, he's bound to keep their identity a secret. One way to describe it is he's a thorn amongst the servants. How can he become a thorn? He's taking advantage of the old, soft-hearted Castellan to gain privilege for himself. He makes himself look weak, yet always doing something more than he is capable of. I can see he just doing it to get attention, he's not intentionally doing it for others. I hate a weakling like that. I see, the way I see it, he probably wouldn't be pleasant to look at. Right? You must understand why but it is not your authority to punish him. If you have a complaint, you should bring it up to the Castellan. I heard Dillion got snickered upon hearing my words, but not for Ollie. I knew they could use the treason as an excuse for punishing Pilmont, but they could not say it to me since that meant they would reveal their own identity. But most of all, I knew the real reason why Ollie wanted to punish Pilmont was caused by jealousy. It's not easy to prove the innocent, but it's easy to punish one. On that note, Pilmont is still not proven guilty of the stolen warhorse. I defend someone who I haven't met yet. Well done, me. Well, for this case, can I ask a favor for you to not punish him for that? Hey. What's in it for me, kid? Although you're acquainted with his generous uncle, you can't meddle with the life inside the castle. Exactly. That's why, I apologize for another thing. Both Dillion and Ollie once again got a bit tense, but not as much as before. What now, Johan-kun? This time, it was Dillion who asked. Hee. I lied, I only have 2 bottles of wine. I actually have one more. I did some trickery and immediately made a bottle of wine once I put my hand inside my backpack, and then I gave it to Ollie. You can have this, but only if you promise to not punish Pilmont, please. Ollie was taken aback by this. He didn't immediately take the wine I offered. I could guess that he still wants to punish Pilmont based on his jealousy and suspicion of the stolen warhorse. But at that moment, it was Dillion who eventually meddled in. Come on, Ollie. A bottle of good wine to stop your ego a bit. The way I see it, it's the best deal I ever saw. But Dillion, you know that boy, innocent, I'm sure. He's young and still new around the castle. It was all that old Castellan's decision to make him live comfortably, not for the attention seeking from the boy. He just hasn't gotten used to the castle's life. Besides, he switched his attention to me. If Pilmont received the letter, I'm sure he would prefer to live with his uncle. You won't see him around anymore. Alright, you guys win. You can take my word, Johan-kun. I won't punish Pilmont as you said. Now give me that wine. He snatched the wine from my hand, but I let it be. I hope he can keep his word though. You're pretty strange, Johan-kun. I never met with someone who can toss around a good wine like that. Dillion said to me after Ollie moved somewhere else and enjoyed a full bottle of wine by himself. Well, it's good fortune. I won a some bet during my time in Locana, so I have some money to use. I chose to buy some wine. You know the quality of the wine in that town is pretty high. Yes, and it's cheaper as well. But still, you must win some good bet. You must be smart enough to play a bet and win. Ha ha ha. Well, I have learned some subjects. Calculating is one of my forte. After this, I also want to become a merchant. That sounds good. But if you are good with calculation, you could submit yourself to become the steward in our castle. Our current steward is ready to retire. So the Chamberlain was preparing to recruit a new steward. Well, in my suggestion, you should try. Sounds like an opportunity to learn more about this kingdom's internal situation. What do you think, Seal? It is a good opportunity, Master. However, it will take a lot of time. We won't be able to gather much information in just one day, Master. But we can place a body double or parallel existence to gather information in a long term. For this kind of thing, using a body double would be enough, right? I don't have to go as far as using parallel existence. Seal, would the body double would be sufficient for the task? Absolutely, Master. The information would be directly linked to the original mind. I see. Then prepare for taking care of more bodies, Seal. The situation about Prince Terrace sending a spy here is something I am intrigued by. And it's confirming the fact that this Silica Kingdom is backing up Prince Terrace. But it seems there will be some tension between these two. Knowing about the king of this nation would be beneficial. I got to try to apply to become a steward. Honestly, that sounds pretty interesting, Dillion-san. How can I apply for it? Are you really interested in it? Then I would personally introduce you to the Chamberlain. He will be the one to decide who's gonna fill the role. Alright, I'm taking it. Thank you for the help, Dillion-san. Don't thank me yet. You have to be able to impress the Chamberlain. You're on your own in that matter. Don't worry about it, I think I can handle such a thing. You seem confident, is it not your first time? Not really, this is my first time to be invited to work in the castle. It is just me being me, I like to appear confident. Anyway, can I ask a question about this? Sure. What is it, Johan-kun? How about the payment? Did I get paid? I asked that question to give an impression of how much I like to earn money. I already said I wanted to become a merchant, and I happily showed him the money I got. This act is to show him that I am interested in his offer because I have a personal agenda, which is gaining money. Hopefully, this would distract him from my real intention. So he wouldn't suspect me of immediately taking interest in his offer. Dillion chuckled after hearing that question, then replied, of course you will. In fact, you're gonna get a hefty payday. How much exactly? Probably around 100 zalk a month. But don't get yourself too far. Worry yourself about getting accepted first. Ha ha ha, of course it is. So, can you introduce me to your Chamberlain? Sure thing. I'll take you to him immediately. That is to say, we planned on getting back tonight. Is your legs all right? No problem. I have to take a long nap during the day. I can walk for a long way tonight. Hey, sounds like you're very tough. For a teenager like you, it's amazing. Well, for a while we will take a rest a bit. The other is still gathering some firewood, then we'll make some food. We take a rest for an hour, then we'll continue our way back. Ah, speak of the devil. As Dillion explained the plan, we could hear the voice of crushed leaves and twigs. Seconds later, we saw 4 men carrying several firewood and 1 rabbit. Who? We got additional members here? Asked one of them, a pretty older one. Yes, he appears to have found us a few moments ago. This is Johan. Johan, this is Killian. Dillion introduced us to each other. Hello. Sorry to suddenly join your group. It's a pleasure to meet you, by the way. Ha. Don't mind about that, kid. Seems like you share plenty of your own supply here. It's good to see a young traveler like yourself. Killian raised his hand and shook my hand. So your name is Johan, eh? Name is Jill, nice to meet you. Coming from Killian's back, a somewhat seems livelier than the rest. He offered to shake his hand, and I took it while giving him a nod. It's gonna be a hassle if we introduce ourselves one by one. So let me introduce you to the other 2. This is Ryan, and this is Lanny. Ryan, Lanny, this is Johan. Killian dominated the conversation and introduced me to the rest of the 4. I only nodded and smiled, as Ryan and Lanny didn't even try to shake my hands. Welp, like I don't mind that really. Make yourself comfortable here, Johan-kun. Oi, Ryan and Jill, hurry and make a fire. Dillion and Lanny, prepare to roast the rabbit. Oi, where that wine comes from, Ollie? I found Ollie was drinking alone and almost got choked when he suddenly got questioned by Killian. Ollie stared at Killian with displeasure, yet Killian didn't budge. Boy, it seems we have 2 wine enthusiasts. It's from Johan. Don't try to ask for a share. This is a deal I made with him. So this is mine alone. If you want some, go ask for some to Johan, and he continues to drink. In split seconds, Killian switched his sight to me. I immediately saw his eyes were glimmering with hope. I can't say I have more, even though I could make one instantly, right? They would be suspicious you're hiding something more, master. Exactly. Then, there's no choice. Sorry Killian-san. I only brought 3 bottles with me. I already left the 2 earlier before you came. There's another 2. Where is it? Here. Suddenly Dillion came while handing him a bottle of wine, one that was still untouched. I saved it from Ollie since I knew you were also a drinker. And I know the rest of us didn't that fond of alcohol. Haha. Good man. I owe you one, Dillion. Hey, thanks for sharing this wine with us, Johan-kun. As for my gratitude, I let you eat my portion of that roasted rabbit. No need to worry, Killian-san. I have my portion from my own supply. It's not good to have an empty stomach for our next long journey, right? No, I don't want your generosity didn't pay. So please, have my portion. I insist. Hey, all right, thank you for the extra portion, Killian-san. Attaboy. Now, I want to taste this wine. Then he immediately opens the plug with bare hands and takes a sip. Oh, this is a wine from Locana, isn't it? Hee. Yep, you got it right, Killian-san. I bought it from Locana. You know it's pretty cheap over there. But Killian only nodded while taking another gulp. He looked already focused on drinking, as he only smiled and nodded after I finished my sentence. Then Killian joined Ollie in enjoying the drink, albeit with Ollie's displeasure look. Nevertheless, they seemed to be getting along just fine. You're very generous to share your wine stock with us. Thank you. It's been a while since Killian and Ollie got a good booze. Suddenly Jill commented while he tried to make a fire with Ryan. Oh, no problem at all. It's a pleasure to share a delicious drink with a companion. Haha, you seem to be a very innocent young man. Just a word of advice from me, Johan-kun. Not everyone can be a good companion. Hearing those words, the rest of them looked at Jill for a moment, especially Dillion. Seems like they got anxious about Jill's words since it gives a hint of how dangerous they can be. But I brushed it off by saying, no need to worry, Jill-san. I know a good person when I see one. Hearing that, I can hear some of them chuckle a bit. Hey, you got potential. Of course, no one cannot bat an eye on this kind-hearted me. This guy, so he's kinda narcissistic. It's funny to see that kind of person, although it could be just a fake personality to hide who they are. All right, Mr. Kind-hearted man. I'm thankful for your advice earlier. Ho, of course. You can ask me more for traveling advice. That would be nice to hear. Hey, can I help you with something? You all seem to be pretty struggling. I'm amazed at how keen your eye is to see a strong man having a difficult time taking the fur out from the meat. Commented Lanny with a straight face. This is the first time he talked. Haha, I didn't mean to put it that way, Lanny-san. By the way, may I help? So you can cook as well, Johan-kun? Asked Dillion. To some extent, yes. As I joined them and took over the cleaning process. Hey, you really are something, Johan-kun. I smiled with smugness after hearing that compliment. Also, after seeing my smug face, I can feel some pat on my shoulders from Dillion. Well, securing some opportunity with these guys is not bad at all. On the other place not far from the campsite, another Rimuru is accompanying the 2 spies that has been killed by the group of assassin. The 2 spies are still unconscious, as their injury is very bad. If not for Rimuru's holy magic, they wouldn't even survive that assassination attempt. Utilizing the moment, Rimuru takes them somewhere safer out of the canyon. There's a small forest with a lake nearby, and he takes both of them there. Rimuru was also let out of his mobile home, the one he always stored inside his imaginary space. It's a 2-story wooden house that was used earlier with Hinata on the first day they arrived in this world. Rimuru already got a hint about their bizarre power. From the conversation with the assassin group, someone had revealed that these 2 are capable of magic. Albeit, the terms of magic invoked are still pretty much a mystery. Yet, Rimuru planned to utilize this to his advantage to gather information from them. First of all, they should remember how bad their injury was. It was out of logic they could be recovered in a very short time. So he would fake his reaction when they woke up, telling them that they had been found by him and recovered at an abnormal speed on their own. This act is hoped to give them pressure to tell who they are as they were caught red-handed having abnormal recovery speed. Which was actually a lie. Secondly, if the pressure worked, he would like to question themselves. What power do they possess? How did they obtain it? How do they control it? Etc. This also would lead to the final problem, which is Prince Terrace's plan for a whole conflict. It is clearly these two are spies sent by him to the Silica Kingdom, but what for? And why send spies who had an abnormal power? But, before getting too far with that, Rimuru realized that these guys probably wouldn't fall under his pressure and respond with violence to escape from him. If that is bound to happen, Rimuru has no choice other than to continue more harshly. Rimuru still wanted to play nice by pretending he didn't know anything and hoped these two would reveal anything on their own. But that was a naive way to think. In the end, Seal made a proposal which ethically wrong yet efficient and ironically harmless. I can infiltrate their memories and obtain important parts, Master. Hearing this, Rimuru could only frown. He still dislikes the concept of infiltrating the mind, regardless of the intention. Yet, this is somehow safer way and more efficient, without having to scheme anything for them. But in the end, Rimuru gave up and handed the process to Seal, and he immediately walked towards the two spies he rescued. All right, Seal, let's begin. Right on, Master. Rimuru looked up to the first spy. He's an average-looking man, wearing light armor and a dagger. He looks pretty young, probably mid-20. Rimuru sighs when he imagines how a young man like this is caught up in serious multinational tension. But there's no time to think about those things right now. It's time to obtain information from his memories. And so, the next step to obtain the information regarding the Prince Terrace plan begins. To be continued.